Revenge films.
My husband cheated on me after 22 years of marriage,
I've never been in love like this before in my life.
he explained. He was 47 years old. We had 2 children, a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. My husband was the serious type. He only drank lightly and didn't smoke or gamble, and had never skipped a day of work in his life. On the weekends, he would take the family out to play. Everyone used to tell me that he was a great husband and a great father. I was very proud of him and loved him very much. But after he expressed his love for this new woman, all he thought about was her and began skipping work. He also started heavily spending our savings for our children's education with this new girl. It got to my head, and I became depressed. I would cry and try to make him stop.
I'll pay consolation and child support, so please, break up with me.
No, never! I won't! The children noticed us fighting and caught on quick. My husband would even tell them.
I have nothing to hide. This is how I want to live my life.
And didn't even bother to hide it. Our parents found out as well. We had a family meeting. Our parents were harsh on him. What are you thinking? You're too old for this.
What are you gonna do with your family? You're going to regret being with that girl.
Even after being pressed this hard, he just said,
I want to live for love.
and seemed proud of himself. Both our parents and our children seemed shocked at his attitude. They told me that I should just do the divorce, but I didn't feel convinced. I don't want a divorce, I said, and tried to hold my ground. Our parents were confused about my decision, and looking back, I probably wasn't myself back then. I couldn't explain to you why I was trying so hard back then. We couldn't come to an agreement that day. My husband brought his girlfriend to the next family meeting. They asked me together to sign the divorce. Shut up! You owe me an apology first! I yelled and made the girlfriend apologize. You thief! I can't believe you're trying to leave your own children! I said to them, but they seemed hard in their decision.
We'll pay you this much in consolation, so please.
They said, and wouldn't back down. I guess I looked like the devil who was trying to separate them, and they both seemed angry as they cried. But after a while, the girlfriend started firing back.
Who do you think you are, anyways? Can't you see that your husband doesn't love you anymore? Don't you feel sorry that you're trying to make him stay in a relationship that he doesn't want?
She said. My husband stood by her, just nodding his head. The more I tried, the more they loved each other. But I didn't realize that. We had many meetings after that. The amount that they offered kept going up, but I could see that his girlfriend's tone of voice was changing. I looked at the numbers again, after they had left and I had calmed down. I noticed that the last offer from the girlfriend was $50,000. Oh, okay, so this is her limit, I realized. I saw her limit and noticed that her feelings for my husband was fading, and I had cooled down by then as well. I told my children that I was getting divorced and had my mother-in-law tell him that I was going to take the current offer of $50,000 each, a total of $100,000. All I had left to do was sign the papers and turn them in. But as expected, the girlfriend disappeared. She had quit her job, sold her room, and disappeared without telling anyone. I didn't receive my money from her, of course. She must have realized that throwing all her savings away and getting a loan just to be with a 48-year-old man wasn't worth it. I realized, too, that it wasn't worth putting my kids through any more hell. Suddenly, my heart felt much lighter, and I could see my husband for the terrible man that he was. After that, my husband began saying that he didn't want the divorce anymore, and he tried coming home like nothing had happened. But he was greeted by her oldest son at the door, who slapped him and chased him off. He continued to ask for a second chance, but I kept ignoring him.
If you won't pick up, I'm not paying you anything.
He tried to say, but it was too late. I've already hired a lawyer.
Wait, what? Really?
Be prepared because the amount is going to be exactly as we discussed, I told him.
I was just confused. I realized that family is the most important thing. I promise to put you guys first for the rest of my life. So please, give me another chance.
He said. But I'd already turned in the divorce papers. Family? Whose family are you talking about? You're not part of this family anymore, I told him. I could tell he was upset, but I continued. If you try to come back, I'll call the police for trespassing, I reminded him. My lawyer helped me receive the exact amount that we had discussed. My husband had to borrow money from his parents to pay for it. I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. After getting kicked out of the house, my husband spent about 10 days at his parents' house, but left because he couldn't stand the disappointed look on his parents' face. He lives in a rundown apartment to save money to pay back his parents. He must be lonely because he calls sometimes to say,
I want to see the kids.
But the kids don't care to see him anymore, so I ignore his request. Meanwhile, his girlfriend had gotten married while we were going through a divorce. My lawyer reported me that she had been enjoying her new life. I couldn't forgive her for destroying my family and living happily ever after.
What do you want to do?
I'm going after her, of course. So I gathered all the evidence and had my lawyer help me expose her to her husband, and asked for my money. Her husband didn't know about the affair she had with my husband. He was surprised to hear about it, and also surprised at the amount that she was being charged.
Am I responsible for paying this also?
He asked.
Your wife was the one who proposed this amount, and she promised to pay for destroying this woman's family. However, she hasn't fulfilled any of her responsibilities. If she tries to hide again, we have ways to seize her salary and savings. If that happens, your wife will lose her ability to pay, and inevitably, you will share the consequences with her.
My lawyer told him. His face went pale, and a few days later he had bailed on her. The woman gave up and promised to pay in split payments. When I asked that she pay up front, because I didn't want to have to deal with her ever again, she ran around and borrowed money from various people and paid up. After that, no one wanted a cheater who was heavy in debt, and she's been alone ever since. Her parents had disowned her, so she couldn't live with them, so she had to live alone. Unable to sustain her life, she switched from a day job to a night job. And she moves periodically to run away from the debt collectors. And as for me, I currently live happily with my children.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.